Hey guys, welcome to a very, very special episode of the Equisential Podcast because we are one. Whoop, whoop.
We are a year old.
We are a
We've been doing
year
this for a year.
old. Happy birthday, us. We wanted to do a special birthday episode because it has been a whole year since we sat down and recorded our first podcast. And it feels really surreal. So we just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who has listened and supported us on this really exciting journey. And yeah, it's flown by.
It really has. And we love when people just drop messages or write comments on the post, every single one of them means so much to us, that if our podcast has been relatable or just helped you through rocky patch, it's so nice to hear from all of you. And we love recording it and chatting to you guys. So we thought we would just do a little podcast to reflect on the last year. Maybe read out some comments, talk about why and where and how it all started. And we hope you enjoy our year anniversary episode.
I feel like we are not different people, but it's so lovely having that time frame and seeing how much the year has brought. And we've done both, because the time we first started recording, we were sat in our room in Devon
on our recce that was our prep for our first retreat that was happening in July, and we'd done a recce in March, and we were like, we should record a podcast.
And it was something we've been chatting about, which we both wanted to do. We didn't really know what it'd be called. We were kind of brainstorming a name for it, weren't we? And then you came up with the idea, Equisential.
Did I?
Yeah, because when I was figuring out what when I was figuring out my name, the equestrian relationships coach, I was like, what do I call myself? I don't know what is this? And you said Equisential coach or something like that. And I was like, I love that word, but I don't think it's my word. And then you were like, when we were doing the podcast, you were like, I feel like that's our word.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I have a memory like a sieve.
But this is what's so weird about me. I remember such weirdly specific stuff, but if you ask me where my phone and keys are, I could not tell you. I couldn't tell you, but I can remember that.
I can remember how to get really weird places. So for example, guys, when in Devon, trying to get to where we park on Exmoor or where we park on the beach, I can weirdly, this is a complete random tangent about memory, but I said to Kat, I was like, so to get to where we park on Exmoor, we go back to that roundabout we go there, and then on that roundabout there's that weird little mini Stonehenge thing, and then you go here and you go here, and she's like, how the hell do you remember there's even a letterbox there to the left?
And we've been here once.
And the trail ride, I did my gosh, we did it for the recce. And then when we took the students around it, you were like, did you look at the map? I'm like, no,
I just know I'm going.
Ridden it once 3 months ago. Know where I'm going.
That honestly still blows me away.
That's where my brain has really weird for remembering stuff. But
I'm so grateful, because I think if both of us were like each other, chaos. We'd our memory slots.
We'd still be on X.
Genuinely, we wouldn't have got home. So I'm really great, and I always feel so safe when you're at the front, because I'm like, she's got this, she totally knows where we're going. Or even if you don't, you have faith.
I look like I've got a cool plan.
You're
no one else will know.
This is cool. And I'm like, wow, those bits in that ride I didn't even remember, gates I didn't even remember that were there, and we got around it.
Love it.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, a tangent.
Back on track.
Back on track. We sat in our little room in Devon and we clicked record, and we didn't really know, we kind of had a little bit of an idea of what we were going to talk about.
And we were so awkward.
Both of us clicked record, and then we were like, who's going to start? Who's going to start? And then the dogs were barking, and then oh, it was so lovely though. And I tell you what, this podcast has made me get used to the sound of my own voice, because for those of you who don't know, I kind of edit the podcast together, and I have to listen to them through, make sure there's no kind of like glitches, bits where we kind of get distracted, or dogs barking, la la la. And yeah, I've had to listen to my voice a lot. That's something I didn't expect to do with the podcast. But it's been nice. I've made friends with my voice, awesome. Which is good. And I know how much I say like now.
And bloody oh, sorry guys. But yeah, so we were like, why did we want to start it? I think because you listen to so many cool podcasts, don't you? And we were like, oh, it'd be so cool to share like our sort of values or principles, beliefs, thoughts, and our sort of ideas that we just thought would be really cool to share with you guys, with our take on it, really, I think was like our initial, like, let's give it a go.
Yeah. I think where we were as well, obviously we're still always uncovering and learning, but I think we were both at a particularly interesting time where we were kind of challenging certain parts of our beliefs, or kind of being open to new things, or riding a bit of a different wave. And I think that's what became really clear on our voice notes together in our chats, that we were like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about this before, or what do you think about this?
Yeah, because we'd leave each other really long voice notes.
Yeah.
We were like, we should do a podcast.
Yeah, we should talk about this. And it was really important topics that we'd never really heard being discussed in that way. And I think we thought, we were like, we're getting so much from these conversations to like just air them out, and to be like, oh, how do you feel about this? And what do you think about this? And new practices we were doing, new techniques, new approaches. And yeah, I think it was a really cool time to chat about it.
Yeah. Shall we share some messages from the listeners?
Yeah.
So let's see.
I also think this podcast has been such a blessing for us as well. We're so lucky that we get to do this, because we're sitting down and actually having like a really amazing conversation about something, and processing loads of stuff and sitting on loads of stuff. And it's been so amazing to have that time to just be like, okay, let's talk about this. And I've had so many of my own realizations whilst talking about stuff.
Totally. And I remember it was it was Christmas or New Year, and we were talking about like what you're going to let go of. And I remember being like, rejection, and it just came through, like it was just a download. I didn't even have a chance to think about it. It was like rejection. And I honestly felt really cleansed the following day. I felt lighter, and I was like, yeah, I'm putting that to bed.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back on that certain thing that it was kind of attached to.
Yeah.
It's done.
So amazing.
It's buried. It's like had the ceremony of like, it's all kind of cleansed and passed.
Yeah.
And that was really powerful. And I was like, thanks to chatting it through on the podcast.
Totally.
Which is really cool.
And that's one thing that it's so easy to go about life and not actually have the conversations that you want to, because you don't have enough time, or stuff gets in the way, especially horses. It's so hard to find a pocket of time where you can actually sit down and have a really meaningful conversation, and be fully present in it, because it's really easy to be having a chat while doing something else, or and actually not go, oh, how do I feel about this? Or, you know, how do they feel about this? And my word has come true through and through, hasn't it?
We've actually spoken quite a bit, haven't we, about our words this year. I'm like, well, that's the magic in that. It's ripped the tablecloth from underneath you. Like, and like I've had so much movement in like various forms, and
totally. And that was thanks to this podcast. Yeah. Awesome.
So
I'm on silent. Cool.
So I really like this one because she shares something that is about listening to one of them, but she's also given a really cool idea that we would love to chat about. So they've said, I just wanted to say, I love your podcast, especially the last two. Uncertainty is something I'm slowly learning to live with. It's hard for humans as we're so desperately wanting to feel control. Being in the right lane was so timely. It's so easy to be pulled in all directions with so much information on the internet, which is so true, isn't it? Like, I think it's really overwhelming. And you can sign up to 110 different online programs that all tell you they're going to change your relationship with yourself. You're going to change your relationship with your horse. You're going to be the best and next amazing tennis player. Whatever you want to sign up to, there's a course nowadays, or isn't there? And
everyone and their dog has a program,
and it's so hard not to be
so overwhelming.
Like, you kind of go, well, I need to learn that bit. Oh, and there's that bit, and there's positive reinforcement, and there's like relaxation signals, and how to have a better seat. Or it's like, she's right, there's just so much out there on the internet that sometimes you just need to find a lane and stay in it for a bit, and just kind of ride that lane till you know yourself in it before jumping and hopping, lane hopping, because then you just kind of keep hopping left and right, but you're not moving forward. She's also said, something that keeps popping up everywhere is authenticity. Would love to hear your thoughts on this in a podcast. What does it actually mean? It sometimes feel like people are just using the word without really knowing what it means. And how do you know you're being authentic? Which I think is a really cool one for us to cover.
I agree.
I really, really like that. So thank you. So any suggestions, guys, please send them in. It's great for us to get some inspiration, and just what you guys want to hear, we'd love to
absolutely, and
dissect it,
and to get a nice mix as well, because that's also why we wanted to start this podcast, is because yes, we want to share kind of like, you know, tips and a bit of like the techniques that we're exploring, but it's under the lens of a greater picture of connection or staying true to yourself. Uncertainty, it feels like it hits a different place, because we're not going, okay, ABC, this is what you need to do with your horse, or, you know, whatever. It's like we're sharing our ideas around it and what that means to us, so that hopefully it hits something, it resonates with you, and then you can make the choice with what feels good for you, rather than being another podcast that's just, you know, all about, not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's something that we thought would be really lovely, that you can put on a podcast and come away from it not feeling more overwhelmed, but actually feeling clearer. Right, I've got some as well. Was that it of
I need to go.
Amazing.
Far away.
So this lovely message from one of my beautiful clients, who's always so supportive, and she loves the podcast, and it makes us so happy knowing that people really resonate with it. So she said, oh wow, just listened to your latest podcast episode again. You two ladies are so on point, and everything resonates with me on so many levels. As someone who has been boundaryless, and then she says, is that even a word? It's helped me to understand immensely my own feelings and where I get stuck sometimes. My horse is teaching me that it's okay to say no if it doesn't feel right, which is so lovely. And yeah, that's all we could ever ask for, is helping, you know, someone look a little bit deeper into what their horse is showing them and what actually, you know, is right for them.
I had the coolest saying the other day about no, that was you will see someone's true kind of soul when you first meet somebody, and if you say no a few times to them when you first met, which is often harder because the people pleaser in all of us, particularly when you first meet someone, doesn't want to put those boundaries out. But she basically said, if you say no when you first meet somebody, then you will see their true soul as to how they respond to your no's, to whether they completely honor them and understand that you're busy, or that, you know, that's not for you. Like, you'll see their true, like, how they respond to your no's is kind of their current essence. And I really like that, because I was like, it's so true. It's like people, it's fine the whole time you're saying yes to people, but that like reflects back to what she's saying with her horse, of like being able to honor and see his no, and like, can we still show up the same if our horse gives us 10 no's?
Totally.
Like,
and I love, and that's the whole basis of attunement, isn't it? Because it's like, in order for you to feel safe in any environment, you need to know that your no is going to be honored, and you have a choice. And in any relationship, I think it's a really good question. I'm thinking about it myself, of like, how comfortable do you feel to say no to someone? And yes, that kind of points the finger back at you, in that, how comfortable are you saying no full stop? But also, you know, there might be that person in your life, or that you know, if you said no, it would be a real big kind of like explosion. And I think that's a really cool.
It's cool, it's a really cool filter.
And I mean, it's not the same kind of, it's a bit more extreme, but I always say, don't I, that once a breakup, if it's a breakup of friendship or relationship or something, really shows you someone's level of consciousness and awareness. And, you know, if they really have that respect for you as a human, regardless of the relationship you have together, that, you know, they will respond in a way that still honors who you are.
Totally.
I love that. Have you got another one?
They said, I absolutely got that podcast this week. I can say that staying in my lane has made my relationship with Archie so much stronger. Finding help from you and Cat definitely cemented it all into place and helped me realise that what I wanted was correct for us. I don't care what people think, and I'm now getting comments from people saying what a great job I'm doing. That's not what I'm looking for, but it helps to carry on doing what you're doing. I don't always get it right and sometimes kick myself. She's quite like crying a laughing emoji. I'm all good, and Archie is loading. I'm currently working on him accepting the back bar. When I first met this lady and her lovely horse Archie, he was anxious to even like be within sort of Trailer's vicinity. It's been such great progress with him, and she's then kind of just gone on to say thanks to us guys. But that's so lovely. And it is really hard, and I do feel for her, because I know there was times on her yard that people were like, just shove him on, just do this, just do that, and she has just taken the time. And it's so cool that she actually was like, can I book a lesson to come to you? And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, how
so
cool
empowering.
Is that? So cool.
Like, no, I'm coming to you.
Which is really cool.
That's wicked. And that's also really nice, is that people can whack on the podcast and feel like,
just be reminded
of, you know, you're not alone. We weirdos that do exist in the world. And actually, you may be more sane than many people, you know. It's like, and often the weird ones are actually the most sane ones. And having that, even if we're not there chatting to you in person, you know that you're not alone, and you've got two pals cheering you on.
Like, for me, that's the power of collective energy, of like, you can listen to this podcast at any time. Like, it doesn't need to be live for the energy to to be with you when you're listening to it, of
Yeah.
like, actually, I can be like sitting with my horse in the field and listening, and that energy is still gonna like be there. And
okay, so I've got another one which says, this is about our New Year one. Whoop whoop. Thank you for telling me about your New Year podcast. I really enjoyed listening to it, and I shall definitely check out the other episodes. And then she went on to say, Tracy sounds very wise. I love the bit about breaking down goals and breaking them down again. It's all about the small steps. And then I've had some time reflecting over Christmas. It's good to look back to see where we were this time last year and what a difference a year makes. I think my word for 2022 has to be discovery.
Love it.
I discovered so much which led to possibilities that I wouldn't have imagined. I knew I wanted something deeper with my horse, but I didn't know what that would look like. Now I do, and actually can see how we might get there.
Lovely. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I think discovery is such a cool word as well.
Yeah.
It's so like open and
it's
exciting.
It's really, really open, and it just opens so many, like, just to allow you to discover like your horse, to go on adventure, to learn, like, a really cool word.
Also, discovery, I've never actually really thought about the word discovery, but you know when we say like lean into the unknown, and it's such a fearful thing, uncertainty, like we were saying on our podcast. Actually, the word discovery makes it sound a lot more empowering, because you're choosing to like be excited by the unknown.
It's like, and even like if it takes you down an avenue that's like we've both talked a lot, like on our voice notes, of just how both our words, I think, are quite positive, but equally both of us have had stuff come up that we've been like, well, like magic's not always easy, or like that, to every you have to have darkness to have lightness, and there's always going to be that balance and exchange going on. And for both of us, we've had stuff come up that then we're like, I've got to move into this discomfort and move out of it again. And like with magic, like we said, like there's been times where you've literally had the rug pulled underneath, like from underneath
so
you.
many times.
And like, because I remember when you said magic, I instantly was like, oh, that's magical, like really, really positive word. And at the time I didn't even consider
I didn't either,
there being a kind of darkness to it, because I think when I think of magic, I'm like, oh, that's absolutely magic, like really positive. And then like you've had stuff come up that's like, oh like you've got to juggle a bunch of stuff, you're having to juggle, like juggling's not easy.
And also like pulling something out the hat, and you said the magician, I remember you said something and I was like, whoa, the magician makes stuff disappear.
Because I can't remember what happened, but like they like,
it's like, oh my gosh. And when I initially said magic, I was like, ugh, that's well cheesy. That's like,
I thought,
yes, magic, let's do this.
I thought, oh, she loves the cheese.
And actually, because I was like, ooh, I normally have words like, worth and aligned. I mean, that's quite cheesy as well. But this one, I was like, this feels so like surfacey, kind of like glittery. And I was like, it's coming up. I don't know why. It's not, I don't know. And then so cool. I don't know, I think that's all the ones I've got.
Someone also said, the flower does not attract the bee. Instead, it just blossoms and the bee comes. It's going on my vision board, and I'm working on just breathe when feeling overwhelmed. Thank you both so much for your support. Lots of love to you both, and keep being amazing.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Which is really lovely. And I love that. I reckon you must have said the flower does not attract. That is something you would say.
That's definitely a cat.
I would just tell someone just to breathe.
I'm like, let's think of a weird metaphor. It was actually my coach who said that to me first, and I was like, it really changed my life, because I was like, and you would, well, I think you'd agree with horses, we do something and we expect it to be, the whole rehab journey is, you you blossom and the bee comes. It's like you have to trust in that journey of like, you know, you just do, and it will happen when it happens, but you have to put in the work and also relax behind the work. It's like, and I remember putting so much pressure on myself to be where I needed to be, where I wanted to be now. It's like, no, I'm not this now. I've got to do this, you know, blah, blah, blah. And actually just being like, you know, when the flower blooms, when the flower becomes the bee. Yeah.
Love that.
And you're like, oh, okay, we've got this.
Super cool.
Awesome. Anything else?
No.
Oh, thank you so much for all of your support, and please do continue to send in emails, messages, questions.
Request for topic.
Totally.
We're totally down for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And thanks for making our first birthday.
Yeah, and
really
thanks for the
special.
love and support, guys. It really does mean a lot.
Yeah.
And we're also like, wow, someone's listening from there.
I know.
Like, that's really cool.
We had, was it New Zealand?
Yeah, which I think I might know who that is. So
Yeah.
if it is, hi, miss you. Yeah, and if it's not, hi, welcome. Like, thank you so much for joining us.
There was some in America and obviously the beautiful people in the UK. Yeah, thank you, and we are so excited to continue these discussions, conversations, and yeah,
thanks guys.
Thank you.